Hare Krishna, Pranam, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. Let's start with the prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मायं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Yes, so let's continue with our reading of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. We had completed chapter 10 yesterday, and today we'll start with chapter 11. Chapter 11 is entitled Aspects of Transcendental Service. So, several different kind of services that we can render to the Lord. We'll be hearing about that today. So, let's start. Would someone like to read? Sudha Mataji, you want to start?
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Aspects of transcendental service, servitorship. In the opinion of the karmis, fruitive workers, offering the results of karma is called servitorship. But according to Vaishnava acharyas like Rupa Goswami, servitorship means constant engagement in some kind of service to the Lord. In the Skanda Purana, it is said that those who are attached to ritualistic activities, the four orders of social life and the four orders of spiritual life are considered devotees. But when devotees are actually engaged in offering service to the Lord directly, these must be Bhagavatas or pure devotees. Those who are engaged in fruitive activities or prescribed duties according to the four orders of social and spiritual life are not actually pure devotees. But still, because they are offering the result to the Lord, they are accepted as devotees. When one has no such desire but acts spontaneously out of love of God, such a person must be accepted as a pure devotee. The conditioned souls who have come into contact with the material world are all more or less desirous of lording it over material nature. The system of varnashrama and the prescribed duties under this system are so designed that the conditioned soul may enjoy in the material world according to his desire for sense gratification and at the same time gradually become elevated to spiritual understanding. Under these prescribed duties of varna and ashrama, there are many activities which belong to devotional service in Krishna consciousness. Those devotees who are householders accept Vedic ritualistic performances as well as the prescribed duties of devotional service because both are meant for satisfying Krishna. When householder devotees perform some Vedic ritualistic duties, they do so to satisfy Krishna. As we have previously discussed, any activity aiming at satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead is considered devotional service. Thank you. Should I continue,
Yeah,
Mataji?
yeah, I think you can complete this section, Mataji. Two paras only.
Srila Rupa Goswami describes one who is fit for becoming engaged in devotional service. He says that persons who are neophytes and who have developed a little love of Godhead are not interested in the activities of sense gratification in proportion to their devotion. But if there is still some attraction for sense gratifying activities, then the result of such activities should be offered to Krishna. This is also called engagement in the service of the Lord, with the Lord as the master and the worker as the servant. In the Naradiya Purana, there's a statement of how this servitorship is transcendental. It is said there that a person who is constantly engaged in devotional service by his body, mind, and words, or even a person who is not practically engaged but is simply desiring to be so, is considered to be liberated. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, so it's a very beautiful section where we are learning about, who is actually, what actually is considered to be pure devotional service, what is not. Because, like Prabhupada, in the beginning itself, Prabhupada is saying that for some people, this Varnashram Dharma, offering the results of one's karma, that itself is servitorship. So, in this chapter, in the beginning, we'll be learning about Dasyam, Sakhyam, and also Atmanivedanam, and a few other topics are also covered. But in with regard to Dasyam, that is servitorship, it can be understood in two ways. So, first of all, as Prabhupada is explaining, that some people just think that, whatever one is doing, if you offer the results to Krishna, that itself is bhakti, that is being a servant of Krishna. But as Prabhupada is saying, that according to Vaishnava acharyas like Rupa Goswami, Dasyam is actually constant engagement in devotional service to the Lord, not just offering the results of one's work to the Lord. So, Dasyam can be understood in two categories. One is Karmarpanam. Karma Arpanam, that means offering your work to Krishna. And then there is Kankaryam, where one becomes a Kinkara or actually a servant of Krishna. So both are considered servitorship, but Kankaryam is more pure form of being a servant of Krishna. So when we talk about the first category, that is Karma Arpanam, here we are doing what work is prescribed for us and we are offering that result to Krishna. But in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verses 41 to 48, Lord Krishna states there that Varnashram can be a stepping stone for bhakti towards devotion. That's not the ultimate goal. So it's not like if I'm following Varnashram Dharma, then I don't need to do anything else. No, Varnashram Dharma is very good, it purifies us and it becomes a stepping stone, but we should not just wait there. It should be a stepping stone towards devotion. So, the purpose behind Varnashram is to worship the Lord. It's not just that I will do what is prescribed for me and that's it. No, it should take us to the worship of Krishna. And as Prabhupada has explained, that it is not pure devotional service. Okay, one is doing the activities and then offering results to Krishna. So that's why some people still they think that it is bhakti because you whatever I'm doing, I'm offering the result to Krishna. So some people may consider it as bhakti, and yes, it can be called bhakti, but it is not pure bhakti. Okay, it's not pure devotional service. So as you may recall that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya was having a conversation with Ramanand Rai, they talk about Varnashram Dharma, and then uh, Ramanand Rai says that the purpose of Varnashram Dharma is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. And then Lord Chaitanya, he says, Aar kaho, say something else, speak further. This is external, this is not the ultimate thing. So, through all these examples and through the sayings of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, we have to understand that offering one's Varnashram Dharma to Krishna is bhakti, yes, but it's not pure devotional service. It's one step below. So Srila Prabhupada explains that those who offer their worldly duties to Krishna, they are doing it because they have some feeling for Krishna, and that is glorious. That is why they are offering it to Krishna. So it is a part of bhakti, but it is not pure devotional service. But devotional disposition is there, and that will finally lead to pure devotion. So it's very nice if one has reached that stage, but we should not stop there. We should take it forward to pure devotional service stage. And you may recall in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 8 to 12, there are various levels of bhakti that Krishna explains. So, one is working for Krishna, then there is offering result, fruits of our work to Krishna. So, there also, this is not mentioned as the ultimate thing. Okay, but it is anukul to bhakti. It is favorable to bhakti because it can help us advance in bhakti. And when one starts offering the results of one's work to Krishna, then our normal material work becomes spiritualized. Our material life becomes spiritualized. But we need to understand here that these things alone don't constitute bhakti. Like it's very common that people say that work is worship. Karm hi puja hai. And His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says very nicely that if work is worship, then the donkey is the greatest worshipper. Because the donkey is just working very hard. He's just doing work, 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 work. Okay, so that is not actually true, and that is not what Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Many people say that as per Bhagavad Gita, work is worship, but it's not given anywhere. Rather, Bhagavad Gita teaches us that how we can worship the Lord through our work. So there is a difference between calling our work as worshipping and, on the other hand, worshipping the Lord through our work. So that is what we need to do, and we need to develop a relationship with Krishna. We have to understand that that relationship with Krishna is developed through sadhana bhakti. So when we have a relationship with Krishna and we do sadhana bhakti, then whatever work we do, that work also becomes like worship. So if we follow the morning program very nicely, we chant in the morning, we read Shrimad Bhagavatam, we do our morning sadhana, and then when we start our day's work, then we'll be doing all our work with a spiritual consciousness. We understand that everything that I'm seeing, everything I'm doing is actually for Krishna, and that is actually bhakti. We are doing activities for Krishna. So, doing worldly duties for Krishna is favorable for bhakti, but that's not the ultimate end. So, if this understanding this, how someone's work can totally be worship, we can think of the example of Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So, in the initial years when he was not yet a sannyasi, he had joined Prabhupada, and because the temple needed money, and everyone who was joining, they were youngsters. So money was always a problem, right? So Tamal Krishna Maharaj and a few other devotees, they joined some factory where I think they were making tapes or packing tapes or some very regular kind of a work they were doing. But what was their intention? They were working in a factory, they were earning money, but their intention was not to enjoy. They were totally focused that we just want to do this work because the temple needs money, right? There were devotees who were taxi drivers and other kind of menial work they were doing, but they just wanted to bring the money and give it to Srila Prabhupada. And in their, the Balkrishna Maharaj, in the gap, in the break time and all, no, they would just get together and they would chant. So this way we can understand that on the face of it, it may look like a normal work, but what is our consciousness that really changes whether our work comes in the category of just varnashram dharma or this is pure devotional service. So first was this section where karma is being offered to Krishna, karma arpanam. Then next is kankaryam. Kankarya means servitorship where one is offering oneself to Krishna, identifying oneself as a servant of Krishna. And this is not just offering our work, but this is offering oneself to Krishna. And a true servant will always ask the master, what can I do for you? Like in the Shikshashtakam prayers, there is one verse where Lord Chaitanya is saying that, my dear Lord, I am your eternal servant. So who remembers that verse? It's one of the Shikshashtakam verses. This word Kinkaram comes in the very first line of that Shikshashtakam prayer. Does anyone remember? Anyone? Okay, so that verse is Ay Nand Tanuja Kim Karam Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pad Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrisham Vichintaya. Yes, Mataji. So here Lord Chaitanya is praying that, oh my Lord, oh Krishna, oh son of Nand Maharaj, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own fruitive acts, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nations. Now please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. So this is, Lord Chaitanya through this prayer is teaching us that our mood should be that, oh Krishna, I am your eternal servant. And a true servant just thinks of the happiness of the master. And that is the mood that we also need to be developing. Now, if we say that, yes, we are servants of Krishna, are we really, really servants of Krishna? Because the tendency is to still think of ourselves as the master. But we have to remember that we are not the master, we are the servant of Krishna. And this mood of servitorship can actually lead to liberation. Now, Prabhupada has written that devotional service, this kind of classification that Prabhupada has given, it is for us to understand that servitorship is something of a very high level. In this world, actually, being a servant is considered a very menial, low level job now. That is why when we say, servant, I am your servant, many people don't understand that how can you call yourself a servant? But this is not the servant of the material world. Being a servant of Krishna is our eternal great fortune. So we have to understand that this feeling of being a servant of Krishna is a very elevated feeling, and we should cultivate this consciousness that we actually feel like a servant of Krishna. And Prabhupada is quoting from Naradiya Puran, and Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned that there is a statement of how this servitorship is transcendental. It is said there that a person who is constantly engaged in devotional service by his body, mind, and words, or even a person who is not practically engaged but is simply desiring to do so, is considered to be liberated. So, this feeling of being a servant of Krishna is of a very high level. Okay. Next is Sakhyam, devotional service in friendship. Okay, so this is also a very beautiful section. Let's read. Yeah. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Devotional service in friendship. Devotional service in friendship can be divided into two categories. The first is to act as a confidential servant of the Lord, and the other is to act as a well-wisher of the Lord. The devotee who has confidence in devotional service to the Lord systematically follows the rules and regulations with the faith that he will achieve the platform of transcendental life. The second type of devotional friendship is to become a well-wisher of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord accepts a preacher as the most dear servant. Anyone who is preaching the confidential message of the Gita to the people in general is so dear to Krishna that no one can be equal to him in human society. In the Mahabharata, Draupadi says, "My dear Govinda, your promise is that your devotee can never be vanquished." I believe in that statement. And therefore, in all kinds of tribulations, I simply remember your promise and thus I live. The purport is that Draupadi and her 5 husbands, the Pandavas, were put into severe tribulations by their cousin brother Duryodhana, as well as by others. The tribulations were so severe that even Bhishma Deva, who was both a lifelong brahmachari and a great warrior, would sometimes shed tears thinking of them. He was always surprised that although the Pandavas were so righteous and Draupadi was practically the goddess of fortune, and although Krishna was their friend, still they had to undergo such severe tribulations. Though their tribulations were not ordinary, Draupadi was not discouraged. She knew that because Krishna was their friend, ultimately they would be saved. A similar statement is there in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, verse 53, where Havis, the son of King Rishabha, addressed Maharaja Nimi. "My dear king, a person who never deviates even for a moment from engagement in service at the lotus feet of the Supreme Person, that is, engagement which is sought even by great demigods like Indra, with firm conviction that there is nothing more worshipable or desirable than this, is called the first class devotee." Sri Rupa Goswami says that a neophyte devotee who has simply developed a slight love of Godhead is certainly a prospective candidate for devotional service. When he becomes firmly fixed in such devotional service, that assured status becomes a confidential part of his devotional service. Sometimes it is found that a pure devotee lies down in the temple of the Lord in order to serve him as a confidential friend. Such friendly behavior of a devotee may be accepted as raganuga or spontaneous. Although, according to regulative principles, no one can lie down in the temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This spontaneous love of Godhead may be grouped under devotional service in friendship. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. It's a very beautiful section about Sakhyam. So Prabhupada writes that this can be of two types. First category is that one acts as a confidential servant of the Lord, and the other category is that one acts as well-wisher of the Lord. Okay, so when we talk about friendship, two terms are used. One is Vishwas and one is Maitri. Now, in Vishwas, here one has complete faith in Krishna. One has complete faith that Krishna is my protector, he is my benefactor, and in that way, that relationship is very intimate. And that is why it's called Sakhyam. And here we have the example of Draupadi. So, Draupadi, it is said that she is not in the Madhurya Bhav like the gopis of Vrindavan, but she calls out to the Lord with great intensity. The way she calls out to the Lord, raising both her hands, that shows total complete surrender to the Lord. Okay, so that is a deeper result of faith. So the process of bhakti is a process of deepening our faith in the Lord. If one is a friend, if we really have that feeling of friendship for Krishna, then there will be complete trust. And this is not just an ordinary friend that we are talking about. This is having friendship with the Supreme Lord. So, knowing his position and knowing that he's always my well wisher, developing this feeling of friendship. And Prabhupada takes this to another higher level that not only is the devotee a well wish, not only is the Lord a well wisher of the devotee, but when the devotee starts preaching Krishna consciousness, then the devotee becomes a well wisher of the Lord. So this activity of preaching now, many devotees tell us that this activity of preaching is considered in Sakhya Bhav because you're a well wisher of Krishna, because you're telling everyone how great Krishna is, and you're trying to bring everyone closer to Krishna. So this is an activity in the Sakhya Bhav. It's so important. And as we have discussed many times, that preaching doesn't just mean that I am giving a class or I'm sitting on the Vyasasana. Only that is preaching. No, preaching could be just telling someone in our family or friends or anyone we know, asking them to come to the temple, asking them to chant, giving them books, telling someone something or acting in such a way that they are one step closer to Krishna. That is preaching, and we can all do preaching. We all have family members, we have friends, we have people we know. In some way or the other, we should try to inspire everyone to get closer to Krishna. And in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has accepted a preacher as the most dear servant. He says that anyone who is preaching the confidential message of the Gita to the people in general, they are so dear to Krishna that no one can be equal to such a person in society. So these verses come in Bhagavad Gita chapter 18. So 18.68 and 69. In 18.68, Lord Krishna is saying, Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshva vidasyati bhaktim mai param kritva mam iveshyati samshaya. So he says that for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. And in 18.69, Lord Krishna says, Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin me priyakritama Bhavita na cha me tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. That means there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So, if we want to become dear to Krishna, then we have to preach about Krishna consciousness to everyone. So then there is Maitri. Maitri is very intimate friendship with the Lord, like the Gopas of the Gopa friends of Krishna. So when Krishna defeats all the big wrestlers in the assembly of Kansa, Then his friends, he calls his friends to wrestle with them, and he's able to defeat everyone, but he actually loses from his friends. So this is that level of, that's a very high level of friendship with Krishna, where Krishna is willing to even lose to them. And there were other times when, they would play games and Krishna would lose. And then Krishna had to carry his friends on his back. So generally one cannot imagine, getting carried by the Lord on his back. No. But the Gopas, their friendship, their love with Krishna is of a very high level. So they are able to get into this mood where even the Lord is willing to carry them, right? And he became the Sarthi of Arjuna. That's what the Lord does. His love for his devotees is just unsurmountable. We cannot even imagine. And devotees explain that in the war, and we can also visualize it, right? How loud and chaotic the whole atmosphere is. So when anyone is a charioteer, they are riding the chariot, and whoever is the warrior is behind them. So now, for example, where Krishna is riding the chariot of Arjuna, and Arjun wants to tell Krishna to go right, in that loud atmosphere of the war, he cannot say it. And it's not possible for the chariot driver to hear the instructions. So what they would do is that with their leg, they would pat on the chariot driver's shoulder. So patting on the right shoulder would mean go right, and patting on the left shoulder would mean go left. So Krishna is ready to do all that for the love of his devotees. So becoming a Sakhya, friend of Krishna is so very special. And how can we all become friends of Krishna? By whatever way possible, big or small, preaching about Krishna. Okay, that brings us to a very wonderful level. Yeah. Next is surrendering everything to Krishna, everything to the Lord. That is Atmanivedana. Yes. Swati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have to just ask you something. This last para, sometimes it's found that a pure devotee lies down in the temple. Can you elaborate on that, Mataji, of the Lord?
Yes.
In order to
Yeah,
serve
Mataji. So, yeah, that again is a very high level of intimacy with the Lord, because generally we don't lie down in a temple, right?
Yeah.
We just offer our pranams and we get up. But this is where a devotee is of such a high level that they, for them, it is not offensive to even lie down in the temple. But this is not something that we can ordinarily do. It is when
Yeah.
someone is of very high level, then even if when they do this, that is also out of love for Krishna. It's not, I mean, like Prabhupada is saying that this is spontaneous love for Krishna, and this may be grouped under devotional service and friendship because they feel very familiar with the Lord. But this is not what ordinarily one should follow. Only very high level devotees can do this.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay,
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Surrendering everything to the Lord. Regarding complete self-surrender, there is a nice description in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 29th chapter, verse 34, where the Lord says, "A person who has completely surrendered unto me and has completely given up all other activities is protected by me personally, both in this life and the next." In the other words, I wish to help him become more and more advanced in spiritual life. Such a person is to be understood as having already achieved Shasti, having equal opulence with the Supreme. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. As soon as a person surrenders unto the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna takes charge of him and gives him guarantee of protection from all sinful reactions. He also instructs from within so that the devotees may very quickly make advancement towards spiritual perfection. This self-surrender is called Atma Nivedanam. According to different authorities, self is differently defined. Self is sometimes considered to refer to the spirit or soul, and self is sometimes considered to refer to the mind or to the body. Full self surrender, therefore, means not only surrendering oneself as a spirit soul, but also surrendering one's mind and body to the service of the Lord. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has sung nice song in this connection. While offering himself as fully surrendered soul, he said, "My mind, my household affairs, my body, whatever is in my possession, my dear Lord, I offer to you for your service. Now you can do with them as you like. You are the supreme possessor of everything. So if you like, you can kill me, or if you like, you can give me protection. All authority belongs to you. I have nothing to claim as my own." Sri Yamunacharya, in his prayer to the Lord, has expressed a similar idea in following words. My dear Lord, I may be living within some bodies as human being or as a demigod, but whatever mode of life, I don't mind, because these bodies are simply byproducts of the three modes of material nature, and I, who am in possession of these bodies, I am surrendering myself unto you. In Hari Bhakti Viveka, in Hari Bhakti Viveka, there is a statement regarding how one can offer his body in self-surrender. There the devotees say, "My dear Lord, as a souled animal has no need to think about his maintenance and sustenance. So, because I have given up my body and soul unto you, I am no longer concerned with my maintenance and sustenance." In other words, one should not bother about his personal or family maintenance or sustenance. If one is actually surrendered in body and soul, he should always remember that his only concern is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami says that devotional service in friendship and devotional service in self-surrender are two difficult processes. Therefore, such relationships with Lord can very rarely be seen. Only for the advanced devotees are these two processes easily executed. The purport is that devotional service in self-surrender are two difficult processes easily executed. The purport is that
Hare Krishna, are you able to hear Mataji?
No, Mataji.
We can't hear Mother.
Swati
we are able
Mataji?
to we can able
Yes,
to hear you.
now we can hear you, Mataji. Mataji, you want to read the last para again? Because I think there was some
Yes,
disturbance. We could not
Mataji.
hear. Yes.
Rupa Goswami says that devotional service in friendship and devotional service in self-surrender are two difficult processes. Therefore, such relationships with the Lord can very rarely be seen. Only for the advanced devotees are these two processes easily executed. The purport is that it is very rare to see surrender that is mixed with sincere ecstatic devotion. One must give himself completely to the will of the Lord. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So, offering oneself to the Lord, surrendering everything to the Lord, that is Atmanivedana. So, Prabhupada is saying that there is the very nice description in Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Lord says that a person who has completely surrendered unto me and has completely given up all other activities is protected by me personally, both in this life and in the next. In other words, I wish to help him become more and more advanced in spiritual life. So, Prabhupada explains that Atma Nivedanam, that is offering oneself to Krishna. And depending upon the meaning of the word self, because the word self can be used in different ways in different places. So, depending upon the meaning of the word self, it can mean surrender of the body, surrender of the mind, or surrender of one's soul. So, all these three, surrender of the mind, body, soul, they are all considered as surrendered, and all three are glorious. So, like Bali Maharaj, he offers his head, right? So, he's offering his body also in a mood of offering his whole existence to the Lord. Then Prabhupada is saying that while offering himself as a fully surrendered soul, he said, "My mind, my household affairs, my body, whatever is in my possession, my dear Lord, I offer to you for your service. Now you can do with them as you like. You are the supreme possessor of everything, right? So this level, getting to this level where one is able to actually think that, like what Srila Bhakti, this is actually from Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's song, that one is saying that you can treat me the way you like. You can do with me, with my possession, my mind, my household affairs, my body. You can do whatever you like. If you want, you can kill me also, or you can give me my protection. All authority belongs to you. I have nothing to claim as my own. So, I mean, we can just understand that this is of such a high level, right? I mean, generally, the tendency with people is that we are we are okay, we are on the path of bhakti because we expect everything to be fine, and generally people think that if I join a spiritual organization, that means my life should become very good. That means all my pain should just vanish, and I should be very happy. But yes, there are the positive changes that come up, and yes, bhakti is definitely the best thing that can happen to us. But in the initial stages, yes, one may expect that, yeah, all my suffering should just vanish. But as bhakti matures, one understands that the purpose of doing bhakti is not that my pain should vanish. Krishna definitely takes care of the devotee, but that taking care can come in many different ways. So, like a loving parent, sometimes they will punish the child, sometimes they will pamper the child, but both both these things are a part of love of Krishna, right? That is the faith a devotee has, and that is why the devotee is able to just completely surrender to Krishna and say, "You can do whatever you want with me." So that is offering one's body, right? Where you can take everything that I have. I'm offering myself. Then offering one's mind, Sri Amnacharya's prayers, that my dear Lord, I may be living within some body as a human being or as a demigod, but whatever mode of life, I do not mind, because these bodies are simply byproducts of the three modes of material nature. So he's offering his mind totally to Krishna. Then in Hari Bhakti Viveka, there is a statement about how one can offer his body in self surrender, and there it is mentioned that as a souled animal has no need to think about his maintenance, sustenance. So, because I have given up my body and soul unto you, so everything is being offered to Krishna. These are very elevated prayers. This is of a very high level, like Prabhupada is mentioning also in the end, uh, where he says that devotional service and friendship, like he's quoting Srila Rupa Goswami, that devotional service and friendship and devotional service and self-surrender are two difficult processes. Yes, it may sound simple, becoming a friend of Krishna. It may sound simple, offering everything to Krishna. But to actually do it, it's difficult. It's not very easy. Therefore, such relationships with the Lord can be very rarely seen. And this is only for the advanced devotees that these two processes can be easily executed. Right? The purport is that it is very rare to see surrender that is mixed with sincere ecstatic devotion. So here we have to understand that there is a difference between surrender and Atmanivedanam. Right? Surrender, sometimes we may just be surrendering because, out of obligation or because there is nothing else I can do. But Atmanivedanam is when one very sincerely offers oneself to Krishna, very naturally offers oneself to Krishna without any obligation or any kind of pressure. So that's why we have to understand this is of a very high level. Okay, and we can just try to purify ourselves, try to purify our consciousness to reach that level. But it is actually, where one has to give oneself completely to the will of the Lord. Yeah, now let's read offering a favorite article to Krishna and performing all endeavors for Krishna. Okay, would someone like to read these two? Yes,
I read
Mataji?
Mataji.
Yes,
Shall
yes.
I read Mataji?
Hi. Yeah, Mataji, Padma Mataji can read these two and then you can read the next one. Yeah.
Okay.
Offering a favorite article. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, verse 41, Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, my dear friend, if someone offers me the best thing in his possession, or anything which is very pleasing to him, he will be eternally benefited. Performing all endeavors for Krishna. In the Narada Pancharatra, there's a statement of how one can act in all spheres of life for the satisfaction of the Lord. It is stated there that a person who is actually in devotional service must be engaged in all kinds of activities, those prescribed in the revealed scriptures, and also those which are accepted for livelihood. In other words, not only should a devotee engage himself in the prescribed duties of devotional service, which are mentioned in the revealed scriptures, but he should also perform the duties of his practical life in Krishna consciousness. For example, a devotee who has a great establishment of factory may offer the fruits of such a material position for the service of the Lord. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So, offering a favorite article. So, this can be something that Krishna likes. We offer that to Krishna. Krishna likes to eat butter. We can make butter offer to Krishna. Then, senior devotees also tell us, no, their Lord Jagannath likes jackfruit or other articles that Krishna may like. Radharani likes arbi. So, in this way, there are so many things prescribed. So, we can offer that to Krishna. And also, what we like, offering that to Krishna. Okay, so like offering what Krishna likes and also something that is very dear to us and we value a lot. Both of these are offering a favorite article. And by doing this, our heart gets connected to Krishna. And the idea is that our heart should get connected more and more to Krishna. So this is a sign of love. Now, anything that we like, we offer to Krishna. Before we accept it, we offer it to Krishna. That is also a sign of love, and also making special effort to offer to Krishna what he likes. So both are very glorious. And then performing all endeavors for Krishna. That whatever we are doing, everything is done for Krishna's sake. So Prabhupada is giving an example that if a devotee has a great establishment or a factory, they may offer the fruits of such material possession for the service of the Lord. So one can have a lot of different talents, right? And we can use everything for Krishna's service. And then other things, whatever we are doing in our life, we can have that consciousness that we are doing everything for Krishna. Okay. Now, being a surrendered soul and serving trees such as Tulsi, right? Let's read this. Yeah. Mataji, Kripa Mai Mataji.
I read Mataji. Hare
I'll read
Krishna.
Mataji. Being a surrendered soul, in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa, there is the following statement about self-surrender. My dear Lord, a person who has surrendered himself unto you, who is in firm conviction that he is yours, and who actually acts in that way by his body, mind, words, can actually release transcendental bliss. In the Narsimha Purana, Lord Narsimha Dev says, anyone who prays unto me and takes shelter from me becomes my ward, and I protect him always from all sorts of calamities. Serving trees such as Tulasi. In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement praising the Tulasi tree as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Tulasi tree, which can immediately vanquish volumes of sinful activities. Simply by seeing or touching this tree, one can become relieved from all distresses and diseases. Simply by offering obeisances and pouring water to the Tulsi tree, one can become freed from the fear of being sent to the court of Yamaraja, the kingdom of death, who punishes the sinful. If someone sows a Tulsi tree somewhere, certainly he becomes devoted to Lord Krishna. And when the Tulsi leaves are offered in devotion at the lotus feet of Krishna, there is a full development of love of God. In India, all Hindus, even those not belonging to Vaishnava group, take special care of the Tulsi tree. Even in great cities where it is very difficult to keep a Tulsi tree, people are to be found very carefully keeping this plant. They water it and offer obeisances to it, because worship of Tulasi tree is very important in devotional service. In Skanda Purana, there is another statement about Tulasi as follows. Tulasi is auspicious in all respects. simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing there before, simply by hearing about, or simply by sowing this tree, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with the Tulasi tree in the above mentioned way lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. So, the first thing that we read about being a surrendered soul. Okay, so surrender to Krishna. We hear about this a lot that we have to surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying from Hari Bhakti Vilas, and Srila Rupa Goswami says, Prabhupada quotes that, my dear Lord, a person who has surrendered himself unto you, who is in firm conviction that he is yours, and who actually acts in that way by his body, mind, and words, can actually relish transcendental bliss. And Lord Narsimha Dev from Narsimha Puran is quoted that anyone who prays unto me and takes shelter from me becomes my ward, and I protect him always from all sorts of calamities. So this is, this is something that uh, is an effort that should be an effort from all of us, and one who is actually on the path of surrender. The Lord is so loving, it's like just like a loving parent, that when the child is in a state where they are totally helpless, the parent, or they are more caring, right? When with a small child, the mother will not leave the child even for a second, because she knows that the child is totally helpless. So that is what our attitude should be, that without Krishna I am totally helpless. Okay, so this again, here we're talking about surrender, and then we have atmanivedanam. So sometimes one may do atmanivedanam without the attitude of total, wholehearted surrender. So that is why there can be some difference. And sometimes we may be just surrendering to Krishna without actually, having that full heart. We may be just doing it because there is no other way. But Sharanagati, taking full shelter of Krishna, is with full heart. And the Lord definitely promises to protect such a devotee, right? So here, I mean, it's a very subtle difference. Uh, Sharanagati, Atmanivedanam, they may sound very, very similar, but we have to just understand very basic difference, that it has to be with the full heart. When we are taking Sharanagati, that is with a full heart. Okay, so Atmanivedanam can also be of two types. It can be without feeling, and it can be with feeling, of total, wholehearted feeling. But the goal actually should be to surrender to Krishna wholeheartedly. So then, in devotees' life, it is very, it is very natural for them. Like Srila Prabhupada, he was totally surrendered to Krishna. No? Wherever Krishna takes, whatever is happening, okay, in Jhansi, he did work, but okay, he'll try somewhere else. His Guru Maharaj has said, he has given this instruction. He was totally, surrendered to that. He was doing it wholeheartedly. It was not out of any compulsion or any obligation. So that is what we have to understand, that Sharanagati, it should be very deep. And Sharanagati is actually deeper. Okay. Yeah. Next, the last point that we read was about Tulsi Devi serving trees such as Tulsi Maharani. Tulsi Maharani, as you all know, in any devotee's life, Tulsi Maharani holds a very special place. Not a day should pass by when we don't offer our worship to Tulsi Maharani. And because she is a manifestation of the supreme goddess of fortune, Srimati Radharani, and she's one of the expansions of Radharani. She is the giver of bhakti. Just like Radharani can give bhakti, Tulsi Maharani can also give bhakti. And by worshipping her, we get a lot of spiritual advancement. So some people just think that Tulsi is pious. It's pious to keep her in our house, and some people use Tulsi leaves for medicinal purposes. But for devotees, that medicinal angle is just a side thing. For devotees, she's Krishna's energy manifestation, Krishna's mercy manifestation. So, I mean, Krishna is giving us this opportunity to worship, Tulsi Maharani. This is Krishna's mercy. So we should not just, think like, that she is just an ordinary plant, and her care should also be very special. We should never pluck Tulsi Maharani's leaves in an unclean condition. We should never be taking her leaves with her nails or scissors, nothing like that. It should be done very gently and with a prayerful mood that please let me have your leaves so that I can use your leaves for the service of Krishna. That is why please allow me to pluck your leaves. So there should be a lot of respect and reverence when we are offering prayers and offering our worship to Tulsi Maharani. And Prabhupada is quoting from Skanda Puran that uh, there's a statement praising Tulsi Maharani that let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Tulsi tree, which can immediately vanquish volumes of sinful activities. She is so pure, just by seeing, touching, all our distresses and diseases can be removed. Pouring water on her, circumambulating her, and by pouring water, it is mentioned that one can become freed from the fear of being sent to the court of Yamaraj even. Okay, so Prabhupada says that if someone sows a tulsi tree somewhere, certainly he becomes devoted to Lord Krishna. And when the tulsi leaves are offered in devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, there is a full development of love of Godhead. So you all know that the Lord doesn't accept anything without tulsi leaves or tulsi manjaris on them. So with that, we can understand that how elevated is her position. And Prabhupada said that even in India, all Hindus, even those not belonging to the Vaishnava group, they take special care of Tulsi tree. I mean, now things have changed, but you all remember, right, that there was a time where there had to be a Tulsi tree in the courtyard. It was just compulsory. Everyone used to have it. And then she would be placed in the courtyard in the center, right? So even when just some children are playing, running around, they are circumambulating her. So our Vedic tradition was so wonderful. Everything was made so nicely. But sadly, we are losing that now. But at least as sadhakas, we should definitely try to take care of Tulsi Marani as to the best of our ability. So offering water, offering obeisances, and worship of Tulsi tree is very important in devotional service. And lastly, from Skanda Puran, Prabhupada is stating that Tulsi is auspicious in all respects. Simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, praying, bowing before, hearing about, sowing its tree, there is always auspiciousness. And anyone who comes in touch with the Tulsi tree in the above mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. Okay. So Tulsi Maharani is so very special and we should try our best to offer the best worship to her. Okay. So today we read about several items of bhakti, and if we are able to follow these, then one can make very quick advancement on the path of devotional service. Okay.
Hare
So
Krishna,
Ms.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
can I add a few lines to that, what you said
Yes,
about
yes.
Tulsi?
Please,
Yeah,
please,
because
Mataji.
when he went to Vrindavan, Mataji, there's
Yes.
one Tulsi, like a Tulsi one, that
Hmm.
whole garden, it belongs to her. So
Hmm.
they called him, to explain to us about Tulsi. So he told us that Tulsi Maharani, she is like manager of Radharani, no? And then there's a tree, there's a big tree in which there are about 100, more than 100 parrots. So yeah, these parrots every morning they go all over Vrindavan, and then they bring all news, and they they come and give the Tulsi Maharani, and then she tells everybody she updates to the Radharani like that. And
Yeah, the parrots are her messengers, no?
messengers, yes. And then they
Right.
also said that on Ekadasi day and on Dwadasi day we should not pluck Tulsi. Even on Purnima we should not pluck Tulsi, because on Dwadasi day also this the Tulsi fasting for Ekadasi. Yeah. So we should not pluck any Tulsi leaves on those 2 days also. Purnima also, Mataji. 3 days.
Yes, Mataji, right. Very nice point you mentioned, Mataji. And actually, Vrinda is Tulsi Maharani, na? So
Yeah.
Vrindavan
And
is her one.
yeah, the temple that they have made so beautiful, Mataji, a small one. Amazing, very nice.
Yeah,
I think
very
those who
beautiful
can
temple.
should go and see. Seeing is
Yeah,
believing. Huge place.
very
It's a huge
beautiful
garden.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see in this picture of Vrinda Devi, so many parrots are there. So like Mataji very kindly reminded us that They are the parrots. She plans everything, and these parrots are carrying the messages. So yeah, true, Mataji. It's very
It's like
nice.
it's like a fairy tale, no matter when you hear this.
Correct. Very nice. Very true, Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that kund is very nice. I had gone there long back,
Yeah,
and now I think they made it even better. No.
yeah.
Yeah.
And adjoining that, there's another sort of, say a garden sort of. It's full of peacocks. We were late, so we could not go inside. It was around 5:36. So they have
Okay.
closed the gates. They didn't allow us to go. But we could see from the grills, we could see so many peacocks there. They were dancing, walking around. So we told
Right.
Prabhu, Ashish Prabhu, we said next time when you come a little early, we can enter and see the peacocks.
Yes.
Beautiful, Mataji.
So nice, Mataji. Just by your description, we are able to visualize those things, and
Yeah, all
you're
these
taking
things,
us to Vrindavan.
Mataji, after seeing, I don't know,
True.
your heart is there, you want to keep going there. You don't want to go anywhere else. Something is pulling you to
Yes.
go back to Vrindavan. Yeah,
True, Mataji. It's a great fortune to be able to go there and
yeah,
have this memory in our heart. It's a great
really.
blessing.
Yes.
Yes. True, Mataji.
We also went to that Gokul. There's a place called Gokul. In Gokul, there's
Yes.
an area where there's all sand. People come and lie down on that. They roll. I don't know what you
Yes.
call it. Some keli they call.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
So they put the sand on the head everywhere.
Yes.
Because Krishna is supposed to have walked on that Ram keli or something.
Raman Reti.
Yeah, Raman
Raman.
Reti. Raman Reti. Yeah. The
Yes.
sand is nice. It's always a little moist.
It's very soft, no? The sand is
Yeah,
very
very
soft.
soft. And when you come out, you don't find any sand on the body.
Yes, Mataji, right. Actually, I went there by Krishna's mercy. I went there a few years ago, and that dupatta, I have still just kept it. I didn't wash it.
Oh.
That
You
dupatta,
brought
yeah.
sand? Mata, you brought sand and come?
I mean, I didn't take sand as such, but whatever
Ah.
little was there on that chunni, I didn't wash it. It's just there, as a
So
memory.
nice, Mata. I want to go again and again with there. But actually,
True,
Ashish
Mataji, but
take us
this
there.
feeling itself is great, na?
Yeah,
Wanting to go to Vrindavan again and again.
but
It's
Ashish Prabhu didn't take us there because that was not in the list. But we
yes.
stayed 2
Next
days
time.
extra, and then we went there. We went and came.
Okay.
But this time he has put it in the group that he's going to go to Gokul also. Take us there if you are going.
So, yeah, Mataji, praying that it happens, that we can all
Yeah.
meet and go. Yes.
If anybody tries, should really go to this place. It's really
True.
amazing. It's a very
Very
simple place, but the aura is so much, Mataji. It keeps pulling you.
Mm.
You want
Actually,
to keep
Raman
on
Reti is
going.
very special. That's why Srila Prabhupada called the ISKCON Vrindavan temple, that place, as New Raman Reti. It's called
Yeah.
New Raman Reti.
So about 3 years back also, I had gone with another group, Mataji. They were putting sand inside their clothes, everywhere, all the people they're putting on the head and massaging, laughing,
Correct.
chasing fun. There's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're
But
supposed to roll in the sand there.
But when you go alone, there's no fun. You're just to yourself. But we just wanted to go and see that. Of course, we rolled a little bit. But when you go in a
Always
group,
best in the association of devotees.
yeah,
True.
it was amazing.
Yeah, I'll share one video in our group now. It
Yeah.
is a bhajan by Madhava's rock band, and there you can see Prabhu. He's rolling in the dust in Raman Reti. So we can all see that and remember
Yeah.
Vrindavan. Okay, I'll share it just now.
Yeah. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for taking us to Vrindavan. Thank you so
So,
much.
Mataji, whatever I felt, I thought I'm
No,
pleased.
very nice. Thank you, Mataji.
It
The
has come
memories.
about Tulsi. I just remembered that. So I thought, let me share with you all.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Okay, so so let's end here. Thank you all so much for joining. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, भक्ति रसामृत की सिंधु की जय, श्रील रूप गोस्वामी की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरु महाराज की जय, गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि. Thank you all for joining. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam. Hare Krishna.